Now, regardless of religion, anyone who spends a lot of time trying to work out what will happen in the future is likely to suffer anxieties. And this is especially with wars, rumors of wars, and the insane proliferation of weapons of war. Who's making these weapons? It is people who are afraid of their enemies. And that's not God. It's not Jesus, but human beings. We didn't have to develop these weapons. We could have cut the funding from the war machine and poured those funds into more constructive technologies. But we've been too afraid. We have not loved our enemies and prayed for those who persecute us as Jesus taught. We have feared our enemies and tried our best to threaten them into submission, if not actively engaged in wiping them from the face of the earth. And as a result, we are constantly poised on the brink of disaster. One bad decision away from nuclear annihilation. Anyone who blames God for this situation is missing the point of what Jesus actually taught. He taught us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. Now, who actually does that? Jesus taught the perfect love drives out all fear. And the way to overcome anxiety is to stop thinking about anxiety-provoking doomsday scenarios. Why not concentrate instead on spending each moment of our lives engaged in agape or self-sacrificing love? The opportunities to act out of agape present themselves every single day if we have the eyes to see. We make a commitment to love as best as we can, then eventually living in the present and being on the alert to make that present moment better for those around us becomes a habit, and we don't even have to think about it. The world is full of anxious people. There are also people in the world who have, at some point in their lives, decided not to live in fear, but love. I don't know how many people who live fearful, or how many don't, but in my experience, more people seem to be fearful of much, including God, dying, and, life in general. God is love, and we can choose not to love, and instead choose the path of fear. Fear is a seedbed for even more negative emotions, such as resentment, unforgiveness, and the desire for revenge. We have free will, so we have the freedom to spend our lives resenting and being anxious about the fact that we have physical bodies which deteriorate and one day will cease to function altogether. We have free will, so we can choose to ignore the teachings of Jesus and decide that God is not really the things that He claims the Father to be. But if we choose to fear instead of choosing to love, do we not as individuals and as a species create the very circumstances that make those doomsday scenarios a distinct possibility? Well, here's a thought. What if we actually took Jesus' teaching seriously? And I encourage you to actively follow the way of Jesus, because I believe it actually does lead to peace. Think about it for a while.